everyone, it's Stephanie. Welcome back to my channel. I did a file folder, or I made a file folder folio for Pam over at Pam's Paper Place. Hi Pam. And that was as a thank you for her sending subscribers to my channel. And there were a couple of requests for a tutorial. So I've never done a tutorial before. Bear with me. I hope that you guys are able to follow what I've done. I have it all prepared. It's cut out, it's bone folded and everything inked. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I'll talk you through the things, the decisions I made as I get to them. Hopefully I don't leave anything out. And I really hope it's easy to follow. And it will probably be in 2 videos. I imagine it's going to take me a while to get it all glued together. Okay, so the first thing that we start with, let me get a few things out of the way here. I have it all sectioned off, so hopefully it goes fast. This is a full-size file folder. Nothing's done to it other than I inked around the edges, and it had a little sticky, it had been used, so it had a label here, and I just peeled that away, so there's a little sticky left, but I'm going to be covering that with paper. So one full-size file folder with the tab in the middle. You can have it off to the side if you want, but I just like the way it looks with the tab in the middle. And it's kind of a gray color. I inherited these from cleaning out an office, and so it's been years, so I don't know if in the store you can get different color file folders. I haven't really looked. Maybe you can get them online, but they were an Office Depot product. So if you're looking for gray file folders, maybe Office Depot. So I haven't searched. Anyway, at the bottom of a file folder, it has the pre-marked little things for the file folder to expand a little bit. I went to the one that's about 1/2 inch. So this I did not measure. Let me grab my ruler. Just in case your file folder doesn't have those sort of things. Yeah, so it's 1/2 inch. So I just bent it, there and used my bone folder to make sure it stayed in place. But that's 1/2 inch. And so then that will give the space to be able to put something inside of here. Before we glue on the support sides, we need to glue on the paper, because once you glue the sides on, I'm not going to be able to get the paper on and spread the glue out very well, because it'll have, these things on the sides, and it will totally mess you up. So I'm going to start there. And I have several to start with. And this is probably going to take the most out of all of our time, because what I did was I outlined the shape and I did not cut it out so that I didn't have to explain what I did. I could just show you what I did. I took a piece of paper and I took it down to about where I thought, oh yeah, that's plenty. I didn't want to use a whole sheet of paper for something you weren't going to see. So what I did was, after I chose how long I wanted it, and I trimmed it to fit the size of the file folder, then I laid it down with this up at the top, and I traced around here. And now we have to cut that out. So this might be the painful part. I'm just going to trace that out, and like I said, I inked everything, but I am going to have to ink this part because I couldn't ink what I hadn't cut yet. If you hear pounding, a little bit of knocking around, my son's in the kitchen making himself some breakfast right now. So that's what that is. I've mentioned before that my desk is in front of a window. Man, the sun is bright this morning. So I'm hoping that it helps you guys see, but I am blinded by the light. I'm not sure what I'll do in the winter time when the natural sunlight is, you know, much different. Okay, so I want my paper to be in just a little bit from the edge. So I will have to come and cut down. So to get that, you cut out the shape, you know, that you want by lining it up and everything. And then see, I have to take just a little bit. It looks like it's actually kind of good on this side, but I'm going to take a little bit off of this side. So I'm just going to take my pencil and just kind of give myself a line to follow to take off of that side. I think this side is fine. And then I'm going to take my paper cutter and trim just a little bit off the edges. I probably shouldn't have inked this one at all before, but that's okay. At least I didn't waste your time on camera, right? So let me just get this. This is the worst part of any of the cutting. If you guys know a better way, let me know, because this is the only way I could figure out to do it. Okay. Oh, and then I need to do, if I move that. Okay, so I just moved it that way, and that got me, I think where I need to be on this side for all of that. I'm going to take just a little bit more off here. And then I need to take this off a little bit. And then I'm going to have to take that off, but I'm going to cut a little bit at a time. Okay. Okay, I think that's good. Now I'm just going to take a little bit off the edge. I don't measure my paper before I cut it. I usually just kind of mark it with a pencil where I want it to be. So I do have measurements for all of the pockets, but for all of the papers, I just mark it with a pencil before I cut. So, and I'll show you what I mean. I'm sure you guys do the same thing. I know I've watched tutorials where they give actual paper measurements, and I'm not doing that. Okay, so I'm just going to ink around this real quick, and I'm using the walnut stain. I've said before I like the walnut stain because I feel like you don't have to use as much. It doesn't take as much work to get the color on there because it's darker. Especially when there's a lot of, you know, print on the paper. Okay. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and glue this one down. Did you just hear that? My son sneezed. It was really loud. Okay, so then just line it up where you want it. Spread the glue out a bit. Okay, and then we move on to the front side, and same thing. It's a little bit painful, but bear with me. So I have cut out I did a lot of cutting to get it ready for us. So it's not the full sheet that I'm working with. And I did the same thing. I laid it back here, and I judged the size of, you know, this is where I kind of put it to figure out the size. So then I just, you know, lined around it. Okay, so let's see how this one fits. So like before, if you just move it over that direction or that direction, it'll take this side and kind of, you know, put it off a little bit right where I want it personally. I am going to take just a little bit. No, actually I think that's good. I'm gonna leave that. So I need to take, sorry about my head, I need to take some from here, and then also some from over here, probably about the same amount. Hopefully that'll be it. I'm using kind of a heavy craft paper, scrapbook paper. It really makes the file folder sturdy. So your finished product with all of this heavy paper is very sturdy. So that's good. Okay. Okay, I think that's good. Now I'm just going to take a bit off the side again. And then I have to trim the bottom, because when I cut the piece of paper originally, I cut it to be the size from this all the way to the bottom, and now I need to trim the bottom just a little bit. So I just take my paper and, you know, I line it up and I just make a mark, and that's where I make my cut. And it's going to go much faster from here. This is the hardest part, I think. I don't know. We'll see. And then I need to ink around this as well. Okay, and I did do that yesterday, but all right. So we'll go ahead and cover that with glue, and then we can get on to our first pocket. So the back side of the file folder I do cover, but I cover that last because we're going to be adding, you know, the pages that flip in and are open, and those are glued onto the back. So we'll want to cover those once we get to that point. So that goes on last. sorry about that. That probably shook everything. This paper has sparklies, so that's what you're hearing there as I go over it on the side. I'll show you the paper pack. All of the paper came from the same paper pack, and I do not know where I got it. I've had it for a while, and so I really don't know. I think it's, I really don't know. Okay, the paper pack is this one. It was really pretty. I've used it for a few things, and I'm getting low on the full sheets in there, but very pretty paper pack. Okay, so now the first pocket. We'll put the sides in once we get this pocket on, and then, you know, I just want to get everything down on this without those things in my way yet. When I was making this for Pam, I had chosen the things that I wanted to send to her, and I made my pockets according to what I was sending her. So if you're making this for yourself, you can make the pockets whatever size you want, and then make things to go in them, or make your pockets according to what you have already. It's up to you. Okay, so this is from my file folder. I used 3 file folders making this, and 1 smaller piece of gray cardstock because I didn't want to cut up another file folder. So this is another file folder here. It's 10 by 6 1/4, so 10 by 6 1/4. And then I scored it on this side at a 1/2 inch and a 3/4 inch. Over here at 9 1/4 and 9 1/2. And then down here I scored at 1/2 and 3/4. I inked all around it. Okay, so now this is how I made my pockets. You may have a better way. I don't know, but this is how I did it. Let me look real quick here. Yeah. So I took where I scored and cut here and here and removed those. I'm sure there are tutorials out there to do this sort of thing, and I may have watched them at one point, but I don't know, I tend to sit down and just figure it out. So I'm probably doing something the hard way that could be done a much easier way, and if I just had checked, I would have found it. Okay, so when you cut those out and you fold them up like this, this is what you end up getting on the back side. Okay. So what I did, and it takes a minute, was I glued these little corners together, and I had to just kind of, you know, hold them, and it wasn't easy. So like I said, this is where somebody might have a much better way of doing this, and I can't really get my finger underneath it, so I was kind of supporting the back side with my bone folder to try and get that glue to stick real good before going to the other side. Oh shoot, you know what I didn't do? I didn't glue the paper to the front of this. Now you're gonna see what I meant by it's not easy. I meant to glue the paper down. Shoot. Okay, that should be holding. I'm gonna go ahead and glue that paper down before I do the other side. Okay. A how not to tutorial? Like Like I said, be patient with me. This is my first one. If you have any suggestions for me, let me know. And I'm watching the clock too, because I could sit here and do this for hours, but I know that you don't want to sit and watch me for hours. Sorry about the noise. It's all that little sparkly on there. Okay, and I can't really use the bone folder over on this side because of what I've already done. Okay. I think that's good. Okay, now I'll get the glue back going on this side. I have a dentist appointment this morning. I broke a bit off of a tooth, and I have to go get that fixed. Isn't that awful? I wish teeth were just permanent. That they didn't break or decay or anything like that. It's a big responsibility, these teeth are. Okay, and then I am going to glue it down. So it just depends on where you want it. It depends on what you're going to put into it. I think I'm going to glue mine a little lower, but you can put it wherever you want. It's totally up to you. I try and line it up so that when I put the pocket down, the little edges aren't sticking out to make it look like a, you know, lopsided pocket or something like that. Okay. I think I want mine about 1/2 inch from the bottom, and then I'm gonna move it over just a little bit. Okay. So then we just have to kind of hold it down while it dries. It's a little off center, I think, but not too bad. And so while it's drying, I take the edges and, you know, push them into place where I want them, so that, like, so that the edge isn't like sticking out just a little bit. I don't know what you would call that, but I'm trying to make it really square looking, if that makes sense. And then I stick my bone folder down and kind of push to get that glue to really, really stick. And if it's long enough, you know, down at the bottom, otherwise I'll use a ruler down there. I have some things to glue on the front too, and I meant to do that. I'm getting flustered. I'm going to get out a different, little bit longer ruler. So I'm getting this down in there so I can just kind of push down where the glue is down in there. Okay. Let me see what I had intended. I think I had intended something like that. All of this should have gone on before doing those sides. So when you do it, make sure you do it in the right order. See if that's about right. I think so. And then this is ephemera that's in that paper pack. There are lots of pages. Everything I'm using except for the doily came from that paper pack. Not quite where I want it to be. It's over a little bit, but that's okay. I think. Okay. And so now we are going to put the sides on. We have to do that now because the next thing we do is the flaps. So we have to be able to, you know, to have something for the flaps to stick to. So the sides, I again used more of the file folder. And what I did was I made it as long as the side here. That's how I got my measurement on that. So this one, and so it's going to depend on your file folder. This is 7 3/4 by 1.5. And then the score is, you know, 1/2 inch and 1 inch. And I made 2 of those, 7 3/4, 1.5. Score at 1/2 inch and 1 inch. And then I cut out paper to go here, and it's the paper, you know, from the back side here. Some of it will show, some of it won't, because we'll have, you know, the flaps coming, but I wanted it to look nice. So when we get this first part done here, I think I'll stop. And then after I go to the dentist this afternoon, I'll probably film the rest of it. And possibly go ahead and upload that today so you guys will have the full tutorial in one day. That's my goal. We'll see. Never know what the day holds. Okay. Okay. So I want to get those nice and square. This is more, you know, it's not real easy. It takes a lot of, you know, just holding it, giving the glue time to set. And I'm going to go ahead and do both sides. I want it lined up right at the edge and down to the fold. Honestly, I probably should glue the other side down the same way first before I lay this down. I'm going to. My glue doesn't dry terribly fast, so I'll have plenty of time. That way I can get my fingers to it and press down real good, at least on one side. Again, I'm lining it up with the bottom fold and the edge. Okay, go ahead and put some glue on this side. Actually, I'm not. I'm gonna go ahead and stick this one down because I'll have to mess with it with a ruler, and I won't be able to make sure that one's lined up well at the same time. So I'm taking this, it's a nice firm, you know, not real bendy, and I just push it up in there to give a little bit of resistance. A book would be good too. In fact, I'm going to grab a book and slide it down in there. Not enough. It's good, means it's going to be able to hold a lot, right? And that one's too fat. All right. Well, you know, that's an idea if you have the right size book. Probably get my hand in there a little bit. I mean, it's sticking pretty well. I think I'm going to go down this way with it once, just to get a good press. I mean, it's holding. I just don't want there to be a loose spot where I didn't get to press and the glue didn't stick. Okay. One more side and then we're going to take a break for now. So I just have to take my glue tip and get it down in there. But you see, if I had tried to do both of these at the same time, that would not have worked out. My glue would have been spreading all over the place and getting where I didn't want it to get. So see, I've got, you know, plenty of glue there. And so it's folding in a little bit down here, so you can use your ruler to push it out to get it to where you want it to be, so it's nice and lined up. So I'm going to turn it over and push on it from this way a little bit. Okay. All right, so there's that. So now we've got a good size. This one's a 1/2 inch, you know, pocket in here. This one's a 1/4 inch pocket here. And then we will, on the next video, we'll be able to put both of the sides that fold in, and then we'll cover the back. So I hope that you were able to follow okay and it was fine. Like I said, give me pointers on what I could do better. I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye.